Hi, I'm Becca, and this is my husband, Gabe.
And that's me.
Welcome to the podcast celebrating Jack Russell Terrier dogs.
And all the joys of companionship with canines of every kind.
Each episode will explore all the heartfelt, humbling, and hilarious stories that only dog parents can truly relate to. We're Jack Russell parents. Good day, everyone.
Welcome to the show.
You know, Gabe, I have been thinking about all the ways that Carson alerts us.
Yeah, like how?
Well, he alerts us when someone's at the door, which is a good thing. He's my little guard dog. Or when the garbage truck is making its way down the street in case we forgot to put out the bin.
He alerts us when the neighbor dogs are outside because he wants to join in the fun.
Mm-hmm. And he lets us know when there's a fly on the ceiling in case we want to swat it.
He barks a warning when we've not given him sufficient share of our dinner.
Because heaven forbid we throw something in the trash.
Yeah.
He is sure to indicate when his toy is stuck under the couch.
Which he put there purposefully. And he also alerts us when it's time to go potty. He's very well housebroken.
Yeah, he really is quite astounding at his ability to alert us. But as awe-inspiring as he is, did you know that there are medical response dogs or service dogs that are trained to assist an individual who has a medical disability or someone who is having a medical emergency?
Yeah, pretty sure I've heard about that, but I would love to know more.
Well, great. I know the perfect person to teach us about it. We have with us today Kristen Tubb, an award-winning children's book author who has written multiple middle grade novels.
Great novels.
Yeah, she has a brilliant line of books that feature dog heroes, dogs that are heroic in their service to people. Hello, Kristen. It's such a treat to have you with us today.
Oh my gosh, I am delighted to be here. Thank you for hosting me.
Absolutely. So, Kristen, you have done an amazing job teaching children and myself, frankly, about medical service dogs through the use of fiction, and that fiction contains humor and the unique point of view of the service dogs themselves. So what inspired you to write this line of dog books?
Well, I think, first of all, I have to say I have 3 dogs. And so those are definitely my 4-legged muses. My 3 dogs are Lucky, Cookie, and Myrtle. Yeah, Myrtle is a pug. Lucky is a golden doodle. And Cookie is a cockapoo, cocker spaniel poodle. And I had been doing voices for them for years, ever since, Lucky was a puppy. And I always, when I visit schools, I like to do a quick poll of how many people do goofy voices for their pets.
Yeah.
And it's a solid 85%. Do you guys do that? Do you voice your pets sometimes?
Yeah, actually, we named our dog after Carson the butler from Downton Abbey. So he has a very uppity, snobby, English, high-class, demanding voice.
Yes. Oh, I can hear it. Just the minute you said that, I knew exactly. So that's your voice. Yes, that's your dog voice.
Yes.
So yeah, I had been doing that for a really long time. And then I had a neighbor who got a puppy, but she didn't have a fenced in yard yet. And so we had a puppy play date here. And as we were watching the dogs play, she said, just kind of in passing, the breeder from whom we got this dog, he also trains dogs to become service dogs for veterans. And it was one of those writer aha moments of, wow, I wonder how they learned that. I kind of had an idea of the types of things that service dogs could do. I knew they could push wheelchairs. I knew they could answer telephones. I knew they could get items out of a refrigerator, those kinds of tasks, but I didn't know how they learned it. And so once I started researching the how, I thought this is something that kids could really relate to. It's school.
Yeah.
It's the process of learning something new. It's the process of trying something and maybe not being great at it at first, and then trying it again and getting a little bit better every time. It was something that I thought was really appealing just from an overall learning and challenging yourself point of view.
Oh, that's fantastic. Very relatable. So let's jump into your first book, A Dog Like Daisy. So tell us about Daisy.
Daisy is a sweet and lovable pit bull, rescued pit bull mix, actually. And she is in a shelter and she is discovered by Colonel Victor and his son. And he is in search of a service dog to help him manage PTSD. It is told from Daisy's point of view. And so it's the story of her training to become a service dog and her learning what it means to be a service dog and what it means to be in service to this family. And it was one of those lightning in a bottle ideas. I don't know that I've ever written a book that fast.
Oh, that's awesome. It's awesome when it comes to like that.
Yeah, exactly. It really was very, I think once the research started gelling, I really knew what this story needed to be.
That sounds so entertaining. So one of the interesting things to me is that you've chose, like you mentioned, as the main character, a pit bull mix, and she's a rescue dog. So what made you include the elements of her being a rescue and being a pit bull for that matter?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to say if you hear snorting in the background, that's my pug at the door. She's very she loves Zooms, and she loves any time that she can be a part of the conversation. So if you hear that, that's the sound that you're hearing, the snorts and snoring.
That's okay. It's just a fun sound effect. Don't even worry about it.
It comes from an authentic place in this house.
That's right.
Absolutely. I saw a meme recently. It said Zoom etiquette rules, mute yourself when you're not talking, make sure your dog is visible, and introduce your dog to everybody.
Right? That's exactly how it works here. So back to Daisy and choosing her to be a pit bull. That came about because of the research. I am lucky enough to have a wonderful friend, Debbie Emery, who is not only a children's book author, but she also is a dog trainer. So once I had this idea, she was one of the very first people I contacted. And I just said, can I trail you for a couple of days and just kind of see what it is you do? And so one of the places that we visited, she has therapy dogs. Mm-hmm. So they visit hospitals, they visit schools, they visit retirement centers with these dogs. And one of the places that we visited was a juvenile detention center. And they brought this pit bull mix. This is how Daisy became this dog. When that dog walked into the room, these kids just lost it. Mm-hmm. They rolled around on the floor with this dog, and they scratched his belly, and they flopped his ears around. Every other dog they were fine with, mm-hmm. and petted and, kind of talked really sweet to. But this dog was just the star of the show. And it surprised me, honestly, because, pit bulls have this reputation for being a stronger, maybe more aggressive type of dog. And this dog was not that way at all. And so I asked Debbie about it, and she said, dogs are what you train them to be.
Yes.
That really kind of stuck with me, and thinking about the fact that I think pit bulls are a very misunderstood breed in a lot of ways. It symbolized what PTSD meant as well. I think it's misunderstood in a lot of ways.
Wow.
So for me, that parallel between a veteran who has PTSD being misunderstood and a pit bull, they really mirrored each other in a way that I thought would work well for the story. And I think it works. I hope it does, at least.
Oh, that's excellent writing. We love it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So in your preparation for this book, what was the most interesting thing you learned about how dogs are trained to be service dogs, specifically for veterans?
Oh, gosh. I really think it's fascinating that families kind of step aside when it comes to service dogs. In other words, when a service dog is introduced into a family environment, there is one person who that dog is servicing. And that one person is supposed to walk the dog, feed the dog, pet the dog, bond with the dog. And so everybody else is asked to kind of step aside so that that bond can form. And it makes sense, and there's a reason for it, but it also causes a lot of jealousy. These families have been living with and helping their loved one manage PTSD. And then this dog comes in, and it's not a pet, it's a service dog. And so there can be a lot of jealousy and a lot of hurt feelings sometimes when it's introduced into a family with kids, and misunderstanding again. And so part of the process now, when they're introducing a service dog into a family environment, is training the humans too.
Yes.
It's training the humans to understand, here's what this dog does for this family member. And we have to give that dog time to learn how to be an effective tool, really. And so that really fascinated me, just this family dynamic of introducing this element that not everybody can participate in the beginning. Now, once the dog starts to, bond with their human, that relaxes a little bit. But that really was very interesting to me.
Yeah, I think that's interesting about dog training in general. We think we could just drop them off at some place and then it's like this magic fix and then they're robotic after that point. But it really involves a lot of training for us as dog parents because we have behaviors that we need to fix too. It's hard for people to hear that.
Absolutely. Every dog trainer I've ever talked to has also talked about training the humans as well. And one of the things that I think people forget too is not every dog learns the same way. They're just like humans, not every child learns the same way. Not every dog learns the same way. They have different personalities, different breeds can really accomplish different things. And so taking all of that into consideration, dog training, I have the highest admiration for people who can train their dogs well because it takes a lot of patience.
Absolutely. I think they learn it at Hogwarts. Isn't that where dog trainers learn?
Yes, they're wizards, man. It's amazing what they can do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing we joke about, Rebecca and I, a lot is that we're having trouble training our Jack Russell. So people, they're like, just be firm. I was like, you don't know him personally. And two, he's a Jack Russell. So it requires some other magical elements in there to make our world go round.
A terrier has so much energy. You have to make sure that energy is expended before they can learn.
Yes, we can absolutely relate. So, Kristen, before we talk about your second book, Zeus, Dog of Chaos, which I can't wait, let's get to know you just a little bit more. What's your favorite aspect of being an author?
Readers.
Yes.
Sounds like an obvious answer, but especially, that's why I write for children. They are the most honest readers out there. They will tell you absolutely everything they enjoy about your stories, and they will tell you everything that they feel like you could improve. I love doing school visits. Pre-COVID days, I used to visit a lot of schools, and I still do quite a few virtual visits. These dog books in particular, kids find a way to connect with them that even adults don't see.
Sure.
I just think that's fascinating. I really, really love hearing from readers, meeting readers, going to book festivals, talking to readers, and not just about my books, but about books in general. Everything from, like you say, Harry Potter to any graphic novel series or YA. I could talk books and stories all day long.
Yeah, that's so wonderful.
That's great. Are you the same way with being a dog parent? Are you that enthusiastic?
Yeah, I think so.
What's your favorite thing about being a dog parent?
I like how different. We have 3 dogs and each one of them is so distinctly different. They're all different breeds too, but they're just so funny in different ways. Lucky is just this. He's very aptly named, like he's happy-go-lucky and he is the sweetest dog. And everybody who meets this dog is like, oh, he's just a heart on paws. And Cookie is just the smartest dog I think I've ever known personally. But she's a little neurotic and she's very needy and she needs to be constantly reminded how much we love her. And, Myrtle is a pug and she is just this goofy, she's an internet star. She has her own Instagram account.
Awesome.
At Bad Myrtle.
Well, can you give that again?
At Bad Myrtle.
At Bad Myrtle.
Bad Myrtle. We'll check it out.
And she's just goofy and funny. And those pug faces just have so much expression. So much of our family lives revolve around our pets. And I think that's a really special thing. I really enjoy that about our pets. We take walks together and hikes together and we go to the dog park together. I put the dogs in the car to pick up the kids from school.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun.
Yes. Kristen, you absolutely are speaking my language in that I really feel like people and dogs, everybody's an individual and everybody's different and everybody brings something of value to the table, just depending upon who they are. And I love that.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
I think it's time to warm up my tea. Let's take a quick break. Aloha Mama Apparel wants to spread the spirit of aloha. Genesis Belote, the creator of Aloha Mama Apparel, was born on the mainland and resides in Southern California. But she cherishes her Hawaiian culture and honors the half of her family that lives on the islands. She loves being a mama and a designer. At Aloha Mama, they know being a mama is hard work, but it's the best work. That's why they style mamas and kiddos in apparel that is bright and filled with beachy vibes. For the cutest casual attire celebrating the spirit of aloha, go to shopalohamama.com. That's shop, ALOHAMAMA.com. Shopalohamama.com. Welcome back. We are here with award-winning children's author Kristen Tubb. We are discussing her dynamic middle grade novels told from the perspective of the dogs themselves. So the next book that I'm super excited to talk to you about is Zeus, Dog of Chaos, for which you recently won a Society of Children's Books Writers and Illustrators Golden Kite Honor Award, specifically the Sid Fleischman Humor Award. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, congrats. We saw it happen online. That was great.
Oh my gosh, that was a very, very exciting career high for sure.
Yeah. So tell us all about Zeus, Dog of Chaos.
Yeah. Okay. So again, Zeus, like Daisy, is told from the dog's point of view. And Zeus is just this big, goofy, lovable German Shepherd who has trained to become a diabetic alert dog. And diabetic alert dogs do exactly what it sounds like. They assist a human who is managing diabetes, and they detect blood sugar highs and lows. And so Zeus in this story is assigned to Madden, who is a middle schooler. And when he is assigned to Madden, he determines that middle school must be the most dangerous assignment of them all, because he is the silence that ensues when he is given his assignment.
He just makes the assumption.
Yeah. So he assists Madden, and he quickly finds out that Madden is a musician, and Madden plays the tuba in the school band. And as you know, the tuba is, pretty much the biggest instrument you can play, one of the bigger ones. And when any sixth grader plays a tuba, it requires a lot of effort and, strength to not only just hold the instrument, but actually play it and play it well. So a lot of times any exertion like that can cause someone who is managing diabetes for their blood sugar to either spike or bottom out.
Interesting.
Like that can affect blood sugar and can affect diabetes. Zeus puts it together that Madden's musical instrument is causing all of this. And so he gets it in his head, in his German Shepherd head, that he must destroy music in order to protect his human. That becomes his mission throughout the book, is to destroy music.
Oh, that is so clever.
Yeah.
and also so fascinating, because I did not know that. I did not know that a diabetic putting forth that much effort could affect the illness.
It can, yes. And no, it won't always. And it depends on the severity of the illness being managed and all sorts of different factors. Even temperature and those kinds of things can affect blood sugar levels. So different athletic activities, those kinds of things really affect how the sugar in your body is processed. So anything like that affects your insulin levels.
Wow.
I feel like Carson has that same misconception. He feels like our phones and the TV remote control destroys our ability to have fun and play. So that's why he's constantly stealing them, maybe.
Yes. Takes them under the bed. He's like, you don't need this. It's bad for you.
Dog. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, my dog Cookie will, if I'm looking at my phone, she'll come and put her face between.
Yeah.
So funny. I never thought about it that way. That's exactly what she's doing.
Yep.
So how do dogs learn that sense of medical illness, specifically for diabetes?
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? Well, here's what's even more fascinating is that scientists don't really know how dogs are able to do this. They just know that they are. able to do it. One of the facts that I read when I was researching Zeus was that human beings can smell a teaspoon of sugar stirred into a teacup. Dogs can smell that same teaspoon of sugar in an entire pond.
Oh, wow.
So that very acute sense of smell, they train dogs to detect when it raises above, say, that teaspoon of sugar and when it falls below that teaspoon of sugar. And the way that they do that is with cotton pads. They have people who have diabetes volunteer to wear cotton pads in their shoes. And anytime they have a blood sugar spike or anytime their blood sugar bottoms out, they take that cotton pad out and they freeze it and they label it. And the dogs are trained then for what a low smells like and what a high smells like.
It's probably their glucose number, correct?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And it's fascinating. It's really just fascinating. And then, of course, they have to train the dogs that they're smelling the sugar on the cotton pad and not the cotton pad itself. It's so amazingly well thought out. And like I said, I have so much admiration for these trainers who accomplish these things. It's amazing.
And they're not also smelling the fish sticks that were also in the freezer.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Anything that absorbs the smell. Right.
Yeah. Well, that is so interesting. I also read in the book about the concept of service dogs being invisible or trying to remain invisible. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Just like the dog trainers say, that humans are trained not to walk up to a service dog who is working and pet that service dog, right? So you see someone who is walking with a service dog, the dog is wearing a vest and say they're in a library. You know not to go up to that dog and pet that dog because they're at work. So the flip side of that is the dog's side, which is the dog is supposed to remain invisible. Trainers use that term, but by that means no barking, no scratching, no sniffing, excessive sniffing. Dogs don't even go to the restroom in their vests most of the time. When they go outside, you remove their vest for them to go to the restroom because that signal of putting the vest on means that the dog is at work. So any of those very dog-like activities disappear when they put on the vest. But when the vest comes off, that's the signal to the dog that they are welcome to do all of those things. They're welcome to be a dog again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think it's amazing how smart these dogs are and how quickly they can pick up, oh, I'm at work. I have to, be silent, be quiet, help my human.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I think it gives them a great sense of purpose. I think sometimes when we think of our dogs and our pets, they're just that. They're just pets, right? But even, especially Jack Russells, they're working dogs. And so they need something to do, just like people.
Gosh, yes, exactly. Every dog trainer that I've talked to as well has also said that these dogs love this work. They love their humans as much as their humans love the dogs, right?
Right.
They want to be of assistance. And you don't get to become a service dog unless you have the personality and the brains to be able to do the job. And so the dogs that make it through service dog training are smart enough to understand the difference.
Right.
So yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about either of these books?
I feel very blessed to be able to tell stories like this. And I feel very grateful to the experts who I interviewed that helped me learn more about everything from how dogs are trained to assist with someone who's managing PTSD to what it's like to live in a military family and move every 2 years, to how diabetic alert dogs are often trained in prisons and how that is actually a very effective model and benefits people across the board. It's amazing. There's so many amazing things being done with dogs and their training and we're just, I think, even skimming the surface right now. I think there are so many more things that dogs are probably capable of, and we just haven't uncovered those talents yet. So I'm super grateful to be able to share just glimpses of those abilities.
Makes for a good series.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I again, my publisher is Catherine Teagan Books, and I adore working with that team. And my editor, Ben Rosenthal, is so smart and so funny and very wise in the advice that he gives. So I'm really grateful to work with them on these books.
Kristen, where is the best place for people to get their paws on these awesome books?
Oh my gosh, I appreciate you asking that. I am a huge supporter of independent bookstores. Independent bookstores have the amazing ability to pair a reader with the right book. So if you have a local bookstore, I would say start there. If they don't have it in stock, they can almost always order it and get it within a couple of days, just like that big online website can.
Gotcha.
These books are also in stock and available through Parnassus, which is Nashville's big independent bookstore. And Parnassus is fantastic. They have been a supporter of mine and my books from day one. And if you order through their website, you can actually get them signed and personalized.
Oh, that would be a nice treat.
Yeah. I go there and sign stock regularly.
We're going to have to re-gift the copy we bought and then get another one that's signed and personalized.
I know.
Amazing. Thank you.
That's exciting.
It's Parnassus Books, Parnassus books.net.
Got it.
Great. Yeah. And I'm launching the next book in the series, Luna Howls at the Moon, with Parnassus in June. So
Yay.
Wonderful.
Well, we absolutely would love to have you back to the show again to talk about Luna. That sounds exciting.
Especially since it's set in Austin. Yay, Texas.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I would love to. Yes, please.
Great. We have one last round of questions, and we call them the Zoomies rounds.
Oh, great. Oh, I love it. Zoomies.
Just tell us the first thing that pops in your head, and we'll just go through them pretty quick.
Do you prefer bagels or muffins?
Muffins.
Do you like cats too?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
We're just teasing.
What's your favorite thing to do with your family?
Hiking.
Does your family have a motto?
Oh, we call ourselves Team Tubb. We often talk about think of Team Tubb, make good choices for Team Tubb.
Well,
so I guess it would be, go Team Tubb.
That's great.
That's perfect.
Wonderful.
That's great.
If you were a service dog, who would you want to serve?
Oh gosh. That's a great question. There's service dogs assist everybody from, someone who's managing epilepsy to someone who is visually impaired. And it would depend on, the abilities of the dog, of the abilities that I would have. I would just say the human that needs my skills the most.
That's wonderful. So it may be similarly along the same lines, but if you had a superpower, what would it be? Anything at all.
I think it would be to share empathy, not necessarily for just me to have empathy, but for me to be able to give empathy to everyone. You know what I mean?
Yes.
To have two very diametrically opposed people and have them be able to find common ground.
Oh, it's like the superheroes. They touch someone's temple and then there's like a little bit of lightning and then the light bulb goes off. Oh, I can be nice to
Yeah.
I like that.
So do you have any hobbies besides playing with your dogs and riding?
I do. I love hiking. I doodle a little bit. I always had in the back of my head when I very first started in children's literature that maybe someday I would illustrate or do a graphic novel or something like that. But I am much more comfortable on the word side of things than the art side. So I think the doodling and the art and the cartooning will just stay as a hobby for me for now.
And lastly, do you prefer the beach or the mountains?
The mountains.
Us too.
Yeah, us too. And that goes with the hiking. That's perfect.
So yeah. I just, give me a sweeping scenic view any day of the week for sure.
Yeah, Tennessee has a lot of those. The Appalachians are
Pretty.
some of the most beautiful places in America.
They really are. They really are. And that's my hometown is in the foothills of the Smokies. I grew up in East Tennessee. So yeah, wow. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Well, that about wraps it up. So Kristen, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been so fun talking with you and I've learned a lot.
Rebecca, thank you for reaching out. I really appreciate it.
Friends, those of you with children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, or even neighbor kids, get your hands on these outstanding books by Kristen Tubb to share the joys of canine companionship and learn about the remarkable ways dogs serve people. Thank you for listening. Until next time, this is Becca and Gabe, the Jack Russell parents.
Say bye, Carson.
We'd love to connect with you online at jackrussellparents.com or on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at JRT Podcasts. That's at JRT for Jack Russell Terrier Podcast.
The Jack Russell Parents Podcast is produced by Earball Audio.
Jack Russell Parents is brought to you in part by Super Chewer. From the makers of BarkBox, Super Chewer is a themed monthly delivery of toys and treats made especially for dogs who play harder and demand a challenge. Simply go to jackrussellparents.com and click the Super Chewer link to enjoy their great offers while also supporting our podcast.